Hi everyone, Ewan here, and welcome back for part 2 of this little mini-series of solving the resultant and its direction. This time, so part 1, if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it, where we went over the theory and also a few easy examples. And I've also done 2 other videos on solving the exact same problems but using a different method, so using some algebra. So if you also like to watch these ones as well, I'll share all 3 links to these videos in the description and the comments. But anyway, let's not waste any more time and solve this third question. So this one here is slightly, it's not much harder, but as you can see, the angles between the two forces F1 and F2 are not perpendicular, but hopefully that should not be a big deal. So let's make it that this force here, let's make this one F1 and let's make this one F2, and let's draw the first one. So F1 is the 20 kilonewton force. Just pop like this. We're going to have the y component and the x component with a 45-degree angle in here. There we go. So this is F1y and this is F1x. So F1x, if you remember from last video, this is the adjacent side of the angle. So it's going to be 20 cosine 45 degrees, and F1y is going to be 20 sine 45. Fantastic. Then for F2 is another force. Just going to pop it like this. And this is 30 kilonewtons. Now we're going to have the x component and the y component. And we have an angle. Here we're giving this one here 30 degrees. So F2x, which is the side of up here, F2x is the opposite side of the angle, so that's going to be sine. So 30 sine 30 degrees. And F2y, this time is the adjacent, so that's going to be 30 sine 30 degrees. Perfect. Right, so now we're going to be able to find the fx and fy. So fx is simply the sum of the two components in the x direction. Now we have to be careful with the sign. So as you can see here, x, if it's going to the right, is positive. If y is going to the top, it's positive as well. So f1x is going to the right, so that will be positive, but f2x is going to the left, so this will be negative. So this will give us 20 cosine 45 degrees minus 30 sine 30 degrees, which is going to give us an answer. And then fy, both of them are going down, so both of them will be negative. So that will give us minus 20 sine 45 degrees minus 30. Oh, actually, I just realized I made a mistake here. This one will be cosine. Sorry about that. 30 cosine 30 degrees. And this will give us another answer. So fx is equal to minus 0.86 kilonewton, and fy is equal to minus 40.12 kilonewton. Fantastic. Now let's draw these two forces. So it's going to go to the left and down. There we go. And that's going to be a resultant. So this is going to be Fx, which is negative, and Fy. Now we want the angle from to the vertical. So it's going to be this angle here. Let's call it alpha. Now the resultant force, just like the other, just like part 1, is just the Pythagoras, because this is 90 degrees. So it's simply going to be Fx squared, so that's going to be 0.86 squared plus 40, which is Fy 40 squared. And this is going to give us 40.13 kilonewton. And then for alpha, simply tan inverse of the, so tan is always the opposite over the adjacent. So the opposite of alpha is Fx, and Fx is 0.86. So always take the positive values, always take the absolute values of when you're calculating alpha, otherwise it'll give you negative angles. It'll be a bit weird. So, and over the adjacent, which is Fy, and this should give you the angle of 1.23 degrees. So these are final answers. I hope you found them, and if not, if you have any questions on about this one, question 3, you can just pop them in the comments and I'll try and answer you. If you're finding this video helpful, just please leave a like and subscribe. But in any case, let's move on to question 4. Question 4, fantastic. So this one, we're looking for the angle to the horizontal, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Let's call this one F1, and let's call 70 degrees F2. So 90 degrees, we're going to go like this. Fx and Fy, and so this is 90 degrees, 90 kilonewton, and this is 15 degrees here. There we go. So F1x is the opposite of the angle, so it's going to be sine. So it's going to be 90 sine 15 degrees. And F1y is going to be 90 cosine 15 degrees. And then we're going to have F2, which is the other force. That's going to be 70 kilonewton. There we go. We're going to have the y component and the x component. So F2x and F2y. And the angle we're given in a question is 55 degrees, which is this angle here. Fantastic. Now F2x, that's the adjacent to the angle, so it's going to be cosine. So that's 70 cosine 55 degrees. And F2y is going to be 70 sine 55 degrees. Perfect. Now let's try and find Fx and Fy. So Fx, simply the sum of the both components in the x direction. Now both of these components are going to the right, so both components will be positive, as we can see here. So we're going to have 90 sine 15 degrees and 70 cosine 55 degrees. And this is going to give us 63.44 kilonewton. And then we're going to have Fy, which is going to be, so fy1 is going downwards, so this is going to be negative, but f2y is going upwards, so this will be positive. So this is going to be minus 90 cosine 15 degrees plus 70 sine 55 degrees. And this is going to give us minus 29.59 kilonewton. Perfect. Now that we know the coordinates, we know that the force is going to go to the right and downwards. So this is going to be Fx, and this is Fy, and this is going to be our resultant force, R, and we want the angle with the horizontal, which is this angle over here. We're going to call it alpha. And there we go. So let's try and find R using the Pythagoras. So that's going to be Fx, which is 63.44 kilonewton. Oh, what am I writing? Squared. Sorry about that. 63.44 squared plus 29.59 squared. This is going to give us 70 kilonewton. And then we have alpha. So alpha equals tan inverse of the opposite. So the opposite of the angle here is going to be Fy. So that's going to be opposite over the adjacent side, which is Fx. And it's going to be tan inverse of 29.59 over 63.44, which is going to give us a final answer of 25 degrees. Perfect. So these are the two final answers. Hopefully you found those. If not, you can try and ask the question in the comments and I'll try and answer it. But anyway, if that's the end of the video, I might come up with like an exam type question in the next video combining all the methods we've seen so far. But in any case, if this video was helpful, if you'd please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any recommendations you would like me to do, you can just pop that in a comment as well and I will look into it. But anyway, thank you for watching. Cheers.